And welcome back, guys, to the round three of Electric Tower. Once again, we are back at Casters. I'm your big daddy JJ, and with me is the one and only, the one that hosted this whole tournament, Feeper.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Happy to be back. Happy to have JJ with us, and I'm just excited to watch some more Pokemon. I don't know about you.
I mean, this is Explain a lot as well. Explain a lot again, rather. And
Yes,
at this point, I'm just gonna call him Max, bro.
I think we have a pretty good relationship with him at this point. So I don't think he'll lie.
Right, but seeing this, it's almost like the same team as the guy from first round being Silvers. We have the Regigigas and the we call this the Weezing as well, and the Incineroar. So I mean, Explain a lot here could get in his experience come into play against Yuna, being losing from the first round, and let's see if that experience is going to help him defeat Yuna and let us have a champion time. Going into the first Pokemon, Yuna sends out their Shifu and the Regieleki, and it is going to be Spectrier and the Regieleki as well. For Explain a lot here, just like the game number 2 for round 1 of his.
It's honestly a little throwing to see those two Regieleki bouncing not in time with each other. I'm not gonna lie, so it's kind of throwing me a little bit. But I think what really is going to come down to this matchup is whose Regieleki moves first. Whichever one can establish speed control turn 1, or if say one goes for a screen and the other goes for Electro Web, I think that's really going to dictate what's going on here. So, of course, Spectre does have to be careful in front of that Dark-type Urshifu. It could just Wicked Blow, and it'll take out a lot of its HP. So, and Reflect doesn't help against that since it's a crit. So it's kind of an awkward position, but he is going to go and just Dynamax right away and say, I'm going to hit the go button, and you got to react.
And that is what you're saying. The Electro Web is now out. And coming in from Yuna as well, lowering the speed of Regieleki and Spectrier for the side effects. But look at this right now, Electro Web is going to go out as well for the side of Xplainalot. And of course, they are now currently, more or less on the same speed. It's essentially like 0 debuffs at this point. But look at this right now. Max Quake going to hit the Urshifu, going to go down immediately without doing nothing at all. That is huge. This is huge, bro. Like, you want Urshifu to last until the end, or at least keep him at the back, as you mentioned before. But having him knocked out is something he's gonna have to deal with for the rest of the game.
That's a really big deal. I really like that decision to Max Quake the Urshifu slot, because it can't survive a double up from Electro Web and the Max Quake. Then you get a Spadef boost against the Regieleki, so you're tankier against that. You maintain speed control, or keep the speeds equal, and you get rid of, so far, what the biggest threat is, the Spectrier. So honestly, maybe Explainalot's experience from fighting Silver has come in handy, even though it's not versus Regigigas Weezing this turn 1, because I think that was a great play.
Right. That is true. But look at this right now. We have this Celesteela up into the side of Yuna. What do you think? How do you think is Celesteela going to help Yuna at this point?
Well, Celesteela is known for just leftovers, Leech Seed, and then you just click the Protect button. We have seen some weakness policy Celesteela, so Explainalot, may have to be a little careful. Just blind Electro Webbing, getting it a +2 boost could be kind of problematic, and Celesteela is a really bulky Pokemon, and it can just gain speed control back with something like Max Airstream. So it really is going to depend on what the Celesteela's moveset and really what its item is here.
Right, and I think Celesteela right now is currently the fastest Pokemon. Correct me if I'm wrong. Due to the fact that we have the debuff off of both of the Regieleki, and of course we also have the debuff of the speed onto Spectre as well. And now that we have the Dynamax of that Celesteela, this is not only is it already bulky, it's made even bulkier.
Doubling its HP is not something you really want to see coming, fighting against Celesteela. It's, I guess you said, bulky already, and now it's just bulkier. But Max Guard's going to come out, which will negate the speed drop on the Spectre, which I think that's honestly a really good play. It makes sure that if he Electrowebs, if Explainalot Electrowebs, which he does, he will make sure he's faster than Celesteela. Is there going to be a weakness policy, though? This is going to be, really, really important.
Right, but look at that right now.
It
We had a
is a weakness
debuff,
policy.
and as you mentioned, the weakness policy is now increasing its attack and special attack. And let's see, the max airstream going to deal not a lot. Well, correct me right now. It is a lot to take down
Just
that
enough.
Regieleki, and of course, he just got in. He just got in his speed control, as we mentioned. Yuna here, of course, with a beast boost, going to increase his special attack, and essentially that's currently at like +3, right? +1 from the beast boost and +2 from the weakness policy, and then of
Yeah.
course he has the fastest Pokemon right now. Even with the Clefairy Friend Guard, I don't think that's gonna deal a lot of. I don't think it's gonna be a big deal for Celesteela right now.
I don't think so either. And Celesteela is known for, as we've mentioned, I think 3 times now, it's insane bulk, and now it's at +3 special attack, and it's at neutral speed, I believe, because it max airstreamed. So, Volt Switch coming out. Not going to do a ton of damage with that Spadef boost, but even with a Helping Hand max Phantasm, I don't really know how Xplainalot's going to get through the Celesteela. This is his last turn of max. Celesteela still has one more, and Weezing's going to hit the field. Very interesting.
Oh wow! Now with this Weezing, not only is he oh wait, no, I think I know what he's trying to go for. He wants to remove that Friend Guard,
Yeah.
but look at that. It's not going to last anyway. It didn't help him at all. I mean, yes, I see the concept. He wants to remove the Friend Guard. He wants to remove the Grim Knight, of course, removing that essentially the speed, the beast boost of what do you call this, Spectrier. But the execution was very poor.
I honestly, and I think Yuna as well, did not think that a Helping Hand max Phantasm would kill Celesteela. I mean, maybe it's not very defensively trained, but that's pretty huge. I think Xplainalot may have just sealed himself off the game. If he can get rid of this Regieleki, Weezing cannot touch his Urshifu in the back.
I mean, at this point, it's just like a 2v1 right now, and I think at this point, this is pretty much a game for Xplainalot. And as I mentioned before, his experience from battling Silver really came in handy.
Clefairy's going to take that Sludge Bomb, honestly, really, really well. Not really caring too much. And yeah, I think you just follow me and you just get rid of the Regieleki. That's honestly all you have to do to win this game.
Right, and of course, as you mentioned as well, that he still has a shape at the back, and even if he takes down the Spectrier, or even the Clefairy, he's still going to be able to like get in a lot of win con here, and even with the minus from the speed, I mean, oh man, it's not gonna help a lot, especially with the redirection as well.
He does manage to take out the Clefairy, which is a big deal, but the big problem is if... Okay, so the Mud Shot does hit. That is good. The real problem is Weezing can't really ever KO the Spectrier because Ghost does resist poison, and Spectrier has Mud Shot, which is super effective against the Weezing. So
right,
he really needed to...
And it's not a Levitate as well,
Yeah, it's not Levitate, so he really needed to maybe like try and get a Volt Switch crit onto the Clefairy a turn earlier, but even then, I mean, you still have Urshifu in the back with Choice Band and Wicked Blow. Like, it's not going to be an easy end game for Yuna, regardless of what they do.
And even if it has like Protect, at this point, this is like what we were trying to say before, that one of the win cons, especially if you are one of the best win cons, especially if you have an Urshifu, is to just keep it up until the last point of the game, up until the late game, and that basically essentially guarantees you the win.
It really does. I mean, that situation Weezing could protect because it does get rid of the abilities, but when it's a 2v1 and you can't really kill either Pokemon, it doesn't really matter if the abilities are around or not. And Urshifu just, once again, showing that, hey, I'm a huge threat. I hit a lot of things in this metagame for super effective or neutral damage, and I can crit a lot of that damage too, and I can just bypass your screens, I can bypass your boosts, and I'm just here to Choice Band and smack your face around.
Right. Oh wait, I have to correct myself. I did say earlier that it doesn't be protected at that point for from the Urshifu, but kind of forgot that neutralizing gas was still in effect. So just wanted to correct myself on that. But like going into the next game, would we see Yuna get a win against Xplainalot here, what do you think should Yuna do against Xplainalot to be able to get like a win con at least?
I think, I really think Regigigas Weezing is the way to go. It's kind of a hard matchup for Explainalot's team, to be honest with you, because Spectrier doesn't really win that. And, you know, Regigigas is going to outspeed Urshifu because it's got a higher base speed. So you can just knock out his Urshifu turn 1, like Silver did.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just really puts Explainalot on the back foot. So I really think Regigigas is Yuna's best lead here. We'll see if they go for it. Although I do like what their plan was with the Celesteela in Game 1.
Right, and look at this right now. Urshifu and Regieleki still the same leads for both of these players. Let us have a champion time.
I'm really surprised to see the same lead come out from Yuna, to be honest. But maybe they feel that, you know, Regigigas Weezing is a bit too predictable. It's very possible. I do like that they're trying to put on a lot of offensive pressure with the Urshifu on turn 1 against Spectrier. But, I mean, we saw last game that Explainalot just didn't care. I mean, he was just able to get around it immediately.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, at this point, I think we might be able to see something different here, just because of the fact that, of course, Explainalot here already knows that the Eunice Regieleki is the faster one, so he needs not to get the speed control at this point, because like he already knows that he's not gonna get that, but instead he needs to get in, you know, a KO if he could.
One thing we could see is, you know, especially if it's a banded Urshifu, we could see it Sucker Punch the Spectre just to get a bunch of damage off onto it. We could also see, like, maybe he has Regigigas in the back, and we do see the Sucker Punch come out, and I'm gonna say that's choice banded.
Huge damage.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's choice banded. That's a lot of damage.
Ooh, man. But look at this right now. We have the Electro Web now out for the Spectrier, and that on the Regieleki, of course, removing its, debuffing it. But at the same time, of course, he's going to answer back with his own Electro Web to debuff the Urshifu and Regieleki, essentially putting a reset of the speed. And again, I may have mentioned that he just shouldn't worry about the speed control, but thinking about it now, you know, having it reset could still help him out. But look at this right now. Grimnai is going to increase his special attack in contrast to, you know, the ability of Glastrier, which increases his attack instead. Essentially works out as its own speed boost. But look at this right now. Regigigas is now out, and I think we might be able to see a switch in from the Regieleki Volt switch into the I would call this Volt switch into that of the Weezing.
I was just about to say the exact same thing, and I think in this situation it might be a little bit too obvious of a play. And if you can, I mean, you really don't want to max guard on your second turn of Dynamax, because Volt Switch should kill the Spectrier at this point, but I mean, you could read it and max guard and then deny the switch, and then, you know, Electro Web again, get some more damage. Regigigas is slower by a stage, and then, you know, deny the Weezing from coming in and essentially validate Regigigas' first turn of max. So we'll see what Explainalot decides to go for here, as well as Yuna, but one thing is for sure, Regigigas is here, and he's a big boy.
I like what you said, but look at that right now. Max Guard is going to go out, as you mentioned. Regieleki, however, goes in not for a Volt Switch, but goes in for that Thunderbolt instead. Look at this. Look at that. Electro Web debuffing the Regieleki once again and debuffing the already slow Regigigas. But let's see. Regigigas goes in for the max queen, and I think that's going to do a lot of damage against his Regieleki. And that is it. That is a KO for Yuna. He's Yuna's first KO of the game, of the match rather, and Spectrier still on the side of Explainalot.
I do like the Max Quake coming out. I mean, obviously it is super effective into the Regieleki, but more importantly, as we've seen already, that those special defense boosts are pretty crucial. So considering that Spectrier is a special attacker, and you know, and Clefairy and a good chunk of Explainalot's team, you know, the Regieleki as well, even though it's fainted now, that's going to be a big deal, even with Weezing not on the field.
Right. But look at this right now. Instead of like bringing out the Clefairy to, you know, I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter for Spectre, because even with the Vanguard, I think just one more hit would be able to like knock out this Spectre, and I think that is a pretty good switch in. Going in for the Urshifu instead of the Clefairy instead, and maybe if Urshifu could survive this, then he would be able to potentially benefit from the friend guard. But look at this right now, we have the coming in without the neutralizing gas, could potentially KO that Regieleki, but goes in for the Regigigas instead and gets in a super effective hit with a close combat. But look at that right now. Max Phantasm, I think, is going to be able to take down the Regieleki and still. Oh no, not quite enough though. Regigigas still on the side of the field. Regieleki still on the side of the field. And that is going to be a huge deal for Xplainalot here.
I think there might be some hacks Reggie Dino power going on here with both of them surviving with just barely any HP. We are going to see the Spectre go down, but that close combat not killing Regigigas is a pretty big deal. And I'm really surprised to not see Weezing switch in here. I mean, it is a bit of a risky move, considering that you could just potentially have it doubled up onto and just KO it immediately, but...
Look at that life orb as well, bro. That was so close.
Yeah,
that was so... I think that's the reason why he didn't just go in for the switch in. Well, Yuna did go for the switch in just because of the fact that, it might be... Even if he switched in the Weezing, I think Yuna just miscalculated the life orb, thinking that the last move would just KO Regigigas anyway, but it's still alive here and could still do one more turn. But look at this right now. We have the Follow Me, and of course, the Urshifu going to benefit from that of the Friend Guard, going to go in for the close combat, going to knock out this Regieleki, and this Regigigas is going to go down as well, thanks to that Follow Me.
Yep, it is going to unfortunately... Yeah, it is unfortunately going to knock itself out due to the Life Orb recoil. And Clefairy, with Slow Start active at the moment, Clefairy is going to take that pretty handily. Now, it kind of depends on... I mean, maybe he doesn't have Weezing in the... Maybe you doesn't have Weezing in the back. That could be a potential, but as long as...
That's true.
Yeah, as long as Urshifu
But I mean, that's
outspeeds,
going to be weird. That's really weird, bro.
It is really weird, but I don't... Maybe it was a bait. It really depends on what the last mon is. Yeah, it could be... Celesteela is a likely option, but okay, we are going to see...
Oh, it is a Weezing.
Yeah.
It is a Weezing. Now, here's the thing. Here's a win con. If, for some reason, for some miraculous event, Weezing would be able to take down the Urshifu, he would still be able to win this. Or Yuna would still be able to win this.
That is true. It is -2 special defense right now because of close combat, but I mean, I don't know if Weezing is going to... It's a bulky Pokemon, but helping hand close combat from a banded Urshifu is not something anyone wants to take.
But it's -1. See, and without the Unseen Fist, thanks to the neutralizing gas, and it's -1 thanks to the Regigigas Max Strike, it could, Weezing could potentially still be faster.
That's
than
true.
It could.
It really could. I did actually forget about the Max Strike lowering their speed, so if this Weezing somehow moves first, typically we don't see a ton of speed investment put into it, but it can, Urshifu's special defense is honestly pretty bad, so it does move first. Sludge Bomb comes out. Oh, he targets the Clefairy and doesn't get the KO.
Instead.
Oh,
man. Okay, he still gets one more chance. Oh, wait, no, actually, no more chance. No more chance here.
Oh, it's not Black Sludge either. There's no recovery.
Huh. If Sludge Bomb here would be able to... if Sludge Bomb would be able to, one-hit KO the Urshifu with the -3, then yes, he would still, you would still win.
Yeah, I think he would.
Oh man, this is kind of hard to read, bro. Look at that. The Follow Me is in. I mean, if Yuna went in for the Sludge Bomb on the earlier turns, then Yuna would be able to knock out that Urshifu. But the close combat is going to knock out this Weezing, unless if it gets the low damage roll, and he did get the low damage roll.
God.
And right now at the -4 Urshifu.
Versus
Weezing,
a gassy
even
boy.
Just versus a gassy boy. Even with that red health, could potentially still win this if he gets a crit.
If he gets a crit, it's definitely
over.
over.
Gets the hit.
So how much is he gonna do? Oh, it's actually Oko's.
He didn't need no crit. Didn't need no crit.
Dude, Weezing was like, "Yo, Yuna, I got you this game." Like, wow, that
Weezing's like, okay, I know that caster's curse. Tell me I can't do no nothing, but here I am proving you wrong, Feeper.
I shouldn't have doubted my man Weezing. I've actually used Weezing too. I like Weezing. I don't know why. I just. Oh, I'm sorry, Weezing. I'll make it
Yo,
up to you.
that was Weezing was definitely the MVP of that game.
Definitely.
Like coming in from like a 3v2, 3v1 rather. Man, I mean, at this point, I just wasn't able to understand what Yuno was thinking, but it worked out pretty well in the end. So, I mean, it doesn't matter what Yuno was thinking during the games. What matters is that Yuna was able to bounce back the loss on game 1.
We are going to see a game 3, which is pretty exciting. I still think that Yuna should have just kept sludge bombing the Urshifu slot. I mean, maybe they didn't recognize that it was choice banded, but they thought that maybe it would detect. But I think that the end game would have been a lot safer if they hadn't, and faster if they hadn't sludge bombed the Clefairy. But I mean, they do get the low roll on the Urshifu with the close combat, down the -4 split F. I mean, who knows? I guess this is an online tournament. Maybe they were calking and they were like, okay, at -2, my sludge bomb only has a 30% chance to OHKO or something. They didn't want to take the risk. That's also very possible. We don't know, but from our point of view, it does seem a little strange. But they do manage to pick up the win, which is pretty exciting for us because we get to do another game. I'm sure Xplainalot wasn't very happy about it, though.
I mean, if we're going to think about it on a different perspective, I think Yuna was just trying to take down the friend guard, or at least trying to that's number one, or number two was just aiming for the Clefairy, expecting the follow me, because like with the redirection, the ally switch and all those stuff, you don't know what's happening anymore, So I think that's one reason why Yuna's just trying to target that Clefairy instead. But look at this right now. Let's have our last champion time for this round. Yuna bringing out the Urshifu and Reggie Alecki, and Xplainalot going in for the Stakataka and that Clefairy up into the lead.
So we're gonna see Xplainalot try and go a pretty different route. I mean, he does have the 2 horses on his team, and he has Regieleki, so he has both ends of the spectrum. He has a Trick Room mode with Glacier and Stakataka, and then he has a really fast mode with Regieleki Spectrier. So we'll see if Clefairy does go down. It does not go down, and it looks like Stakataka will be able to get a Trick Room up. However, you're never really feeling that safe in front of an Urshifu with a 4x fighting weakness, regardless of if you're a Trick Room, Dynamax, whatever.
Right. But right now, since the TR is now out, Stakataka wouldn't be afraid of anything. He knows that he is going to be the fastest Pokemon into the field. But look at this right now. Incineroar with Intimidate, of course, a -1 into that of the attack of Stakataka. But, man, like, how do you propose is this going to, like, work out for Xplainalot?
Well, we are going to see a bit of a peculiar double switch, although I do think it's actually going to work out fairly well. Yuna does get an Intimidate off on the Stakataka, which is pretty big. Stakataka really doesn't like its stats being dropped unless it's its speed stat. So that's going to mitigate the damage coming out from here a lot. I'm honestly surprised to see the Incineroar come out this game and not the previous game. I feel like that was an adjustment that Yuna would have made in the last game, but it is obviously working out really well for her now. So we'll see how much Celesteela it takes, and even at -1, I mean, I'm kind of happy with that damage if I'm Xplainalot, not gonna lie.
Right, and at this point, Yuna already showed all of their cards. We don't have no Regigigas, we don't have no Weezing in this round, in this match rather. So with that in mind, that's a lot of data for Xplainalot.
It is, showing all 4 of your Pokemon early on is never something you really want to do, but sometimes you just got to do whatever you think is. Yeah, sometimes you just got to do whatever you think is the best. We are going to see Urshifu come back in. Looks like Yuna wants to cycle those Intimidates, but I do like Xplainalot's call with Max knuckling that slot, because it says, okay, I'm going to get my attack boost back up, and then if you leave Incineroar in, it's going to be super effective. If you switch in Urshifu, it's still going to be super effective. So I really like that play, as we see the Celesteela on Yuna's side go for that Dynamax as well, despite its HP.
Right. And even with that kind of HP, it's still bulky. And look at that right now. Helping Hand is going to boost the attack of Stakataka right now. Max Knuckle into that of the Urshifu. Not going to do a lot, though. I was expecting that it's... Oh, well, I mean, it has -1. And right now it's on -+0. Still wasn't able to knock out that Urshifu despite the super effectiveness. But look at this right now. Max Heal Spike going to be able to take down the Clefairy. Goodbye. Goodbye, Helping Hand, and goodbye, Friend Guard. I think that is quite a huge deal for Xplainalot here, and definitely puts what do you call this, Xplainalot in quite a huge disadvantage.
It really does, and Yuna's doing a really good job of just kind of stalling out Xplainalot's Dynamax. I'm expecting this next turn that they're just going to switch Urshifu back into Incineroar, drop that that attack stat of Stakataka again, and then next turn is not going to be able to boost its stats anymore. And with the Helping Hand not being an option on Xplainalot's side, he's not going to be able to KO the Incineroar unless, of course, he doubles up into that slot with the Glacier. But we are going to see a Protect come out, which is a bit of an interesting decision, although it does have weakness policy. So maybe he's expecting a Max Steel Spike to come in and pop it for him, and then he can go from there. But Steel Spike is going to give a defense boost, and it's starting to really kind of snowball out of Xplainalot's favor, and Urshifu is going to survive with that Detect. That's the last turn of Max for Xplainalot, and I don't know. I mean, Trick Room's coming up in 2 turns. It's going to expire, and I really think Yuna's playing really, really well this one.
I mean, at this point, the Trick Room, I believe, is backfiring against Xplainalot here, just because of the fact that Glacier here is one bulky and one fast beef boy. You know what I'm saying? And with that Trick Room in mind, with that Trick Room in the field, it's just hindering it from attacking. And man, like even with the Max Knuckle +1 into the Glacier right now, still not. Oh man, I have no words right now. And look at that, +1, just like that, gone. Incineroar, Intimidate +1 for the Max Knuckle off of that Stakataka, and +1 for the Glacier, just gone.
Glacier
all of those setups, bro. All of those setups.
Yeah, Stakataka is not going to be really happy about that, although its fighting type move is Body Press, so it doesn't really care about that. Glacier is going to be sitting at +2 after the Max Knuckle boost and the weakness policy, and then of course the Intimidate. So lots.
Oh,
of,
right.
Yeah, lots of stat boosts just up and down across the board. But the Celesteela is kind of a problem. I mean, Incineroar is going to feel to fake out one of these 2 Pokemon. They're not going to be able to move. It is going to be the Glacier, and I believe, another crit. I believe Celesteela should be able to pick up a KO with a Max Steel Spike.
Not enough.
It's just not enough. I mean, Stakataka really needed that extra +1. If that was +1, I think Incineroar was going down there to that Rock Slide.
And thank you for reminding me about the buffs of course, the Glacier, but like it doesn't matter right now because it
doesn't matter when you're KO'd and faked out.
Right, and again, as I mentioned, all these setups, all for nothing. Just like that.
Celesteela's getting
Celesteela.
I'll tell you that much.
Oh man, this is looking like a game for Yuna right now. It doesn't look like a game for. It doesn't look like a game for Xplainalot, and definitely just from the wheezing alone, that momentum, Yuna brought it into game number 3, and it's still bringing it and not losing any momentum at all.
Yeah, Yuna's really been able to sort of, kind of just take reins and take control of this last game after Weezing got her the win in the first one, and I believe there's still 1 turn of Trick Room up, and Regieleki does not want to be in Trick Room.
Trick Room's now out.
Oh, it is now out. Okay, well,
it is now out. Yeah,
that could be good. If this full switch KOs, it would be a very big deal. It does KO. Okay, so Celesteela is not going to be able to do any more shenanigans, and because Stakataka wasn't KOing at that thing at +3 defense.
Right, but we have the Flare Blitz here going in for the Reggie like he's going to be able
Ooh.
to knock out. No, not quite enough. And I think the Sandstorm is going to leave it with just one more HP. Going to be able to knock out this Incinerator, of course. Super effective hit against Incinerator. This is going to be a 2v1 situation right now. Reggie Elecki going to be left with, I believe, just one more HP, if not two. Oh,
Oh, the
wow.
Sandstorm
Quite
subsides, though.
fortunate.
That
Quite
is quite
fortunate
fortunate.
for that Reggie Elecki. We lost count. Well, personally, I lost count of the Sandstorm, but
And I lost count on the Trick
if
Room,
that...
so we're we're 0 for 2.
We're even.
We're even. We're even.
But, if that didn't subsided, then Reggie Elecki would be left with just like 1-2 more HP, and Reggie Elecki of Yuna is the faster Reggie Elecki here. And what? It doesn't matter if it subsided or not. Reggie Elecki would still be able to take down this Reggie Elecki of Xplainalot. And Stakataka, it depends whether or not the Rock Slide would be able to hit this Reggie Elecki, and that could mean the win for Xplainalot if the Rock Slide would hit.
Yeah, I think Xplainalot does go for the Trick Room here, which I quite like that play, making sure that he can move first every turn, going on to the rest of this game. And you'll see, I mean, that's the first damage Stakataka has taken all game. So while, yes, Yuna did play really, really well in setting up her Celesteela and getting rid of Glacier before it did anything, she did kind of ignore Stakataka, and it is at neutral, a +1 defense and a +1 body press from Stakataka's gargantuan defense stat.
Right.
Reggie Lecky's not going to appreciate that at all.
And I think that was a pretty big brain play from Xplainalot here, that going in for that Trick Room, predicting that Electro Web coming in from Yuna is quite a big brain play for me, knowing that he's going to be able to exploit that move of that prediction to get the upper hand. And just like that, look at the damage of Stakataka against the Reggie Elecki. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. High damage roll of the Thunderbolt don't matter, bro. If I think oh my
gosh, I was not I mean, Stakataka's a bulky Pokemon. I was not expecting that to KO.
No, I wasn't. I mean, earlier, as I mentioned, I was expecting it to like go for the Rock Slide instead, and maybe it's a super effective move. Yes, I get where he's coming from. Of course, the Butterfree, the heavier the Pokemon is, the higher the damage is. But like, you can't ignore the fact that Rock Slide is also a super effective move, and there's a chance for a flinch. Unfortunately enough, he went in for the body press instead, and quite unfortunately, wasn't able to get a kill. And that alone, oh man, I don't know. I have no words for that, bro. Like, the Thunderbolt knocking down that Stakataka was
I'm just
way
as
out of my
surprised as you are.
vocabulary.
I mean, maybe it's an offensive Regieleki. Maybe it's max special attack. We don't know the spreads, but I'm still pretty surprised it did that much damage. I do like Xplainalot's play though. He says, "Okay, look, it's 2v1. I know your Regielecki's faster, but you have to be worried about Trick Room, because then my Regieleki goes first if you don't KO with this turn, and I'm going to try and set up a light screen so that way I can be bulkier against your special attacker, and then I'll be able to move first, and I can either Rock Slide flinch you, I'm at +1 defense, I can just body press and then click Volt Switch." So I really like his play, saying, okay, you either deny my screen, or you try and get a crit and get some damage on my Stakataka, but it didn't end up mattering because Thunderbolt is Oko.
I mean, like, going through those options, you can definitely see that any of those either way would be a huge advantage for Xplainalot. Like, literally everything, every outcome of every situation from that point on, is on the advantage of Xplainalot. But oh man, RNG gods are the side of Yuna, huh? Well, I mean, there's no RNG involved. There wasn't no super effective hit. There wasn't no critical hit. It's just raw damage.
It was just raw damage. I mean, we don't. Yeah, it's Regieleki, man. You gotta respect Regieleki. I mean, it lit a +1. It lit a +1 defense body press from Stakataka, which I think has the highest base defense stat in the game, except for like maybe Avalugg, which you don't see in VGC.
Right.
So, I mean, effectively the highest base defense stat in the game at +1 body press. and it just barely wasn't enough. And then Reggie Lecky says, "Later, bro." Zap zap. I mean, that's why it's called the Electric Tower. Maybe there was some mojo coming down from the tournament. I don't know, but really impressive
There's
stuff.
an electric boost
Yeah.
from the tournament.
Yeah.
But hey, we're gonna see more of those actions when we come back, only here at Feeper's Electric Tower. Once again, we have in your casters. I'm JJ, and with me is the one and only, the one who hosted it all, Feeper. We'll be right back.